Good morning. Welcome to Energy Works. Today we're talking about finding joy in food. So sometimes food can be a pleasure and sometimes food can be painful. So we want to be able to go back to the basics with food where we feel enjoyment in actually creating nice food and in feeling that we can feed and nourish ourselves physically and emotionally and spiritually with our food. Because if you think about it, all our food is grown from the earth. And I guess it's a blessing to have beautiful food and fresh ingredients. And so wanting to be able to enjoy all that goodness in the food is important for us. And I guess if you're a person that is in the garden, you might like to grow your own food, which would be even better, and be able to reap the benefits of what you're growing. So I don't know how many of you have a garden or if you enjoy that connection with the earth, but I think that's a lovely thing to do. So what is it that's hard for you with food? What would you like to be different about food? All right, so let's get into our third chakra. I'm going to use Jenny Rosengreen's book. Interesting. This is in the solar plexus chakra. Swallowing other people's thoughts or opinions about me or life in general. All right, so other people's thoughts or opinions about me or life. And often we can be persuaded by the people around us in how we live or what we do. So how can we prevent ourselves from emotionally eating, or if we want to emotionally eat, I guess addressing why. Why are we needing to do that? What is the emotion behind it that we're using food to fulfill that need with? All right, so the third chakra is about our will, isn't it? Wanting what we want and making things happen. And I guess sometimes we can have misuse of our will. All right, taking action. What do you want to take action in? What's your desired outcome? All right, we're going to jump into the sixth chakra now, brow chakra. All right, active imagination in regards to negative outcomes. So I guess imagining what can go wrong, but what about if we imagine what could go right? How could it be? How would you like it to be? How could you see it being? How can you visualize it? All right, let's say I easily see the truth. Now, sometimes we can just fall into bad habits. So often when I'm tired, I want to eat because I still have more things to do and I should really just give up and go to bed. And then that can become the bad habit of eating at night. So how is food playing out in your life? How could it be better? Where is your body complaining about this? All right, and let's go into chakra 7 now. All right, I allow others to support me in times of need. Are you able to allow others to support you? Used to eat healthy most of the time. Yeah, I could say that. But sometimes I want to eat junk. So how would support look? So Leela's mentioned good food, just too much of it, intermittent fasting. Yeah, I do that. I usually don't eat till lunch. And then it's like trying to cut it off at night, but that's the hard part for me. All right, so feeling cut off from my inner guidance. And sometimes their inner guidance is go to bed, don't eat that, relax, go for a walk. And we fight that feeling. All right, let's go into one of the other chakras. So this is the 8th chakra now, which is into the ground, under the first chakra. All right, so this is about, Margaret's mentioned cravings of sugar. Yes. So some of the things that come into play with cravings of sugar are minerals, like some of the ones that you might want to check that your levels are good enough would be zinc, magnesium, chromium, occasionally vanadium, manganese. All these are important. And particularly, and even like selenium, not so much with sugar, but it's also another one that's not in Australian soil. So zinc and selenium are very low in our soil. All right, so seeing the earth as needing to be conquered, never living in the moment, holding value in our possessions and status. All right, so we've got a couple of things here. Dangerous to have lollies in the house. I would agree. They could call me from the cupboard. And Susanna's mentioned thyroid dysfunction. Yeah. I'm just going to use Ina Siegel's book. All right, so these are some of the things from Ina Siegel's book. It's called The Secret Language of Your Body. She said possible contributing factors: lack of drive, feeling sluggish, numb, disconnected from your life's purpose, constantly trying to please others by carrying their burdens and worries. So this is what she suggests. Focus on your thyroid. What are you holding back and not expressing? Whose worries or burdens are you carrying in your thyroid? What do you want to do that you are not doing? So sometimes thyroid can be about not expressing ourselves and holding back. So yes, gluten definitely. Susanna's mentioned gluten can cause problems to the thyroid for sure. All right, let's say I'm okay without sugar this week. Something in our timeline. Age 12, 17, 37. Okay, so, and these may be times in our life when we were given sugar or treats to soothe ourselves, or, that's what how our parents calmed us down. Back into the seventh chakra again. All right, and Alzheimer's is coming up here. I think it's very important for us to try and have our gut working as ideally as possible, because as good as our gut is how our brain is. So it's like if our brain isn't functioning very well, then our gut won't be functioning very well and contributing to our brain not functioning well. And so the good bacteria that live in your gut determine what you want to eat and how you feel physically and emotionally. So it's like learning to help our gut to be its healthiest. Using sugar as a form of manipulation. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we did that with our kids, didn't we? You have to eat all your dinner and then you can have dessert. All right. So I am greater than any relationship or possession that I have. Let's go into our grid. All right. So sometimes we can have had shocks which can damage our base grid. And so it's like the base grid houses our energy field, or the base of our energy field. And if we've had an emotionally a big hit, or physically a big hit, then the grid will take the hit. So, and it can split and not be functioning. So our energy system then is never working on full capacity. So Catherine's mentioned her daughter is having gut problems and is dealing with depression. And they very much interlink. I know that myself. If I flog myself too much and eat badly, then, for sure I won't feel good. So Leela's mentioned swimming for base grid. It's been a bit difficult with COVID to do those things, hasn't it? All right, age 3, age 8, 10, 13, 18, 22, 29, 33, 38. All right, so you can see all these different ages can be when we've had hits in our life, and these things can really cause havoc to us. So age 3, particularly for Brent. So what's coming up here is hanging on to old concepts and being unable to change. Some of the things that I think have been hard to let go of personally are self-blame, self-hate. I guess not treating myself in a loving manner. So some of that for me is to do with being an obliger and feeling that you have to keep everyone else happy. I guess learning that, I'm happier and healthier if I take care of myself. And so I've used this example before, but my husband's very good at compartmentalizing his life, and he will go and play golf, and then he will come back, have a little nap in the car because he goes early in the morning. And then he'll come back, and after his nap, he does a lot of yard work, and then he'll come in and help tidy up in the house. And then he'll, get to a certain point that he's had enough, and then he'll rest and, have a little bit of relaxation time. So he's able to have the fun that he would like, or get out in nature and exercise and enjoy that time with friends. And then he feels more able to do what he needs to. So if we can take a leaf out of that book, in terms of doing things that we love and bring us joy, then we're more likely to have pleasure in going and doing the normal things afterwards because we feel satisfied. So if I allow myself to feel satisfied, that's no. And so then when we feel unsatisfied, that's when we want to eat or indulge in whatever our addiction is. And so we have to relearn how satisfaction feels and allow ourselves to feel that. All right, so I see my problems as lessons of growth, not as failure. Again, some timeline stuff here. Age 16, age 20, age 33, 36, 40, 43, 46, 49, 53, 56, 59. All right, so you can see there are many ages here, and I don't know whose is whose, but, you will know which ones are yours. Just take a big breath in and breathe out so we can release whatever's hiding in that age. All right, and if I say I'm okay without self-hate, it's still weak. Since it's got a generational problem, dad's side, dad's mum's side, and the women. And these can be patterns that we fall into from childhood. We'll get in trouble for something, or, if mum's having a hard day or dad's having a hard day, we might get in trouble more than is valid for what's happened. And so then we learn the behaviour of being blamed, and so we start to blame ourselves when everything isn't perfect. All right, so going into the aura now. So the pink colour in the aura. All right, these people are usually well-liked, gathering family and friends around them. They can be generous with their time. They're creative and artistic and have strong imaginations. So having this ability to be creative and artistic, it can be useful in imagining in full colour how you would like yourself to be or how you would like your life to run, and taking action on what you see to help this become a reality. Disliking injustice is coming up here. All right, feeling overlooked. So let's say I see you, I hear you, I acknowledge you. Can you acknowledge yourself? Are you ready to hear yourself? Are you ready to see yourself? And not just see the critical picture that you look at, but seeing who you really are, the heart of you. So if I say I see myself, that's weak. I understand myself, that's weak. And let's say I nurture myself with love and kindness and healthy food. All right, and again, we're in the grid. This time it's grid lines. So we have like vertical and horizontal lines that are in our grid. It's like graph paper, and so different areas can be damaged. So lower back area, calves, feet, and some feelings stuck in there. So the grid lines in those areas are damaged. All right, and carrying stressful responsibilities. So I guess they can be seen as like chains around your legs. All right, so underlying we have a virus. Now sometimes it's just a straight, we're sick and we have a bug. Sometimes the virus has an emotional base, and in this case it's an emotional base. So this comes up under Candida, which is like a yeast overgrowth, and that really, if we have something like that in our gut, we definitely crave sugar. So, and it says begins with doubting yourself. All right, so it's like not trusting ourselves to accomplish what we're here to accomplish in life. So we must have faith in ourselves that we can, that we are here for a purpose, and that each of the difficult things that we have encountered have been for our growth and learning, even though they really stretch us to the very ends of our limit. All right, so continually blaming others on a subconscious level. All right, so sometimes we can blame, our family or life experiences or, accidents or, other people's negligence can cause problems in our lives, and we can be stuck on those things that have happened in the past, where it's important to forgive and move forward. But, of course, that can be easier said than done, and it can be a process, a lot of praying, meditation, writing and burning, using oils perhaps to help with the forgiveness process. You can use forgive oil, which does help bring up the things that are needed to be forgiven. You could also use lavender peace. That's also helpful with forgiveness. Interestingly, holiday peace comes in here as well. This is from the Essential Emotions book, and it talks about under forgiving. Am I carrying hurt which is not serving me? What is holding me back from extending forgiveness to myself or others? And they have an affirmation: I am now open to forgive myself and others. I now release hurt and allow full healing into my life. And the visualization, they say, see cords unwind and release from around your heart and body. Imagine your hands and heart letting go of hurt. Also, there's a couple of other oils they mention here as well: geranium and thyme, Siberian fir and citronella. I think thyme is really good, and especially at this time too, it helps with your immune system because it helps kill bugs. All right, so the bones in our head are not correct. So we'll release energy from that, but it's always good if you can have them adjusted so that your brain and your spinal cord have the best chance of ideal function. Oh, someone's mentioned, thank you for sharing this forgiveness. I need to let go of my beliefs. Yes. Sometimes we do get very stuck in beliefs. And I know there's things that I've been stuck in from my past and have had to work, or I've had a lot of people work with me to help in that forgiveness process. And I can be very angry or resentful about situations that have happened that, I perceive as being wrong or unjust, and feeling like if only this didn't happen or that didn't happen, and I feel mad at this person for this. And so being able to almost take a step outside yourself and to see that, this is not really you. This is about your growth, and these things were put in your path, not as stumbling blocks, but as stepping stones for growth. And, seeing past the challenge. And it's easy for me to say that now, but sometimes we're in the middle of something. It is very hard. So get help. Book a session, exchange a session with someone if you're an energy person. Swap a meal on a session. Do something to help you get what it is that you need to get past whatever you're stuck on right now. All right, reactions to feelings. All right, feelings of resentment and pettiness. So this has got a generational component. Dad's side, that's dad's side, and the men. And some families are have a lot of energy trapped in non-forgiveness, and it is like a ball and chain. It's like we keep dragging around with us the person or the situation that caused us pain and problems, and feel like we can't get past it, and we keep hanging on to that particular time. And so there is a technique where you imagine your life is like a long road, and you're in an airplane above that road, and you fly. You ask yourself, okay, when did this feeling start? And you imagine yourself in the plane flying back to the start, and then to be able to see the experience that happened, and to be able to see the lesson in the experience. And because you're higher in the plane, you don't have to feel the pain, but you can observe what happened and get the understanding from that experience and what you needed to learn, and how that strengthened you for later experiences. All right. Also hindering that process is something from age 10. And again, some more stuck emotions from that time. All right, feeling separated from the source of love. Now, for some people, there can be deaths or divorce or loss of a pet or a friend, or, moving away from friends or having friends move away. All these things make you feel separated or alone, and we can be very hurt. All right, now we're going into the layers of the aura. So layer 5, which is the master copy of the physical body. So I used to work with a naturopath when I first got out of chiropractic college, and she would say it takes 7 years to completely replace every cell in your body. So if we were to think about how we would like our body and ourselves to feel in 7 years, I would like you to strongly imagine that. And even if you use a picture of yourself from a time when you liked and loved yourself and your body as incentive, that each day as you think about what you're eating and as you're cooking beautiful, healthy food, that you're thinking about your cells, that you're creating new healthy cells to help your body be better and healthier. There are some people, as they get older, they take better care of their health and actually get stronger and look amazing. So I think, that's possible for all of us, and we can use our food to help us be happier and healthier. I also think here of DDR oil, the DNA repairing blend that you might use to help your cells repair and also to change your thinking. All right, so DDR prime is the oil of transformation. So it's like we think that we're stuck with the problem that we have. And I remember talking to a man who had lost a lot of weight, and in losing a lot of weight, he'd actually got rid of his diabetes and his blood pressure. So it's like if we can change the pattern of using food as the suppression of our feelings to using our feelings as opportunities and stepping stones for growth, I think we can transform our body. And, and until you take your last breath, your body continually serves you. It continually tries to help you to be the best and to accomplish your purpose in life. All right, so DDR Prime, this is from the Essential Emotions book. DDR Prime is particularly supportive in releasing all types of negative family patterns which are recorded in the body itself in the DNA. So we don't often think of these patterns being in our DNA, but I can give you examples in my family. So my father developed diabetes as he got older. His mother had diabetes, and we have that tendency in our family. So we often use food as a means of suppressing our feelings. And so, this pattern of suppression of feelings is in the DNA. So it doesn't have to stay there. We can transform this pattern to have a healthier body. All right, so back to the essential emotions. He said it's especially suited for those who struggle with debilitating circumstances, as it helps to relieve feelings of doubt, disbelief, despair, and burden. It teaches individuals to reclaim their life energy and to believe that change is possible. DDR Prime supports the process of regaining health and vitality by encouraging the release of the old and the birth of the new. So it's like learning ways to do our life differently, learning ways to think. Like when we're stressed, like I know when I'm really in a bad mood, I need to go for a walk. I need to get away from everyone, and I need to go and walk to help release some of the negativity that I feel. And so we all have days like that. So it's like learning how to do this release of the emotions without stuffing them down with food, because whatever we stuff down with food, as we lose weight afterwards, all the emotions come back up, and it's like, a blocked drain, or everything that's blocked in there has got to come out. All right, so Catherine's mentioned that too, family training, yes, and Margaret's mentioned she takes the DDR Prime soft gels, which she thinks are good. Yeah, it can be wonderful to help our body repair and renew, supporting our body. And, then that comes back to the healthy food and loving food and, looking at recipes and using your creativity in the kitchen to make things look good, taste good, be colourful. We talk about eating a rainbow. We need to eat all different colours because they're different antioxidants to help different areas of our body. So Catherine's mentioned food was everything for my family. And you think of how much is centred around food. That's often when we sat down at night with a meal together, was the feeling in the home happy and conducive to a healthy discussion as we ate and enjoyed that time together? Or was it a time that we attacked each other and had fights? Like, how was it around food? Because if it was a negative, we need to release the negativity that is trapped around food so that the food can then become a time of joy and self-love rather than suppressing feelings. All right, so some generational stuff here from mum's side of the family, mum's dad, and the women on that side of the family. And again, some stuck emotions in our genes. All right, so what is stuck in the genes is living in the past. So I guess we are taught in a way in our childhood inadvertently to dwell in the past. Oh, that was, if that only that hadn't happened, and this terrible thing happened, so we can't get past it. And not to lessen the traumas that you have been through, and particularly, some families have been through terrible times, whether there's accidents or death or divorce or, wars or country disruptions. Like, you think about this time with COVID now, how many people will have emotional components attached to food and even oxygen and socializing through this terrible time. So it's like learning to see past what is happening right now and to see the strengths that are personally coming to you from this difficult time. Every circumstance that we have gives us the opportunity to think differently and to act differently. And so even like when you're choosing a recipe or you're choosing the ingredients of your food, you want to have the end in mind. So whether it's, nourishing yourself and your body and your skin and your gut, or whether it's to nourish your family members and to help them to feel loved and to feel the support and, I guess, the nourishment of body and soul through the food. So it's like as you cook the food, your love and your personality goes into the food, and this is very important. So of course, when we have home cooked food and people have cooked for us, it tastes so good because it has love in it and it has the energy of that person in the food. So mindfully cook, mindfully choose your ingredients, mindfully grow your ingredients so that, the food becomes high vibration because we have that love in it. For those of you that are visual, imagine how it will look and imagine the face of the person receiving the food, how they will feel enjoying that food. Now, sometimes we can feel inadequacy. We feel like we're not good enough, or we can't cook well enough, or we can't do it perfectly. Well, that's okay. I read an article in a Facebook group, a woman that's very intuitive, had a son die. He was in his late 30s in a motor vehicle accident. And because she has that intuitive ability, she still has some communication with her son. And so she's understood some things. And it was very interesting to say that he talked about how the small things that we do, showing love, really are used by God to make a difference. And so even though we might only see it as a small thing of cooking a meal or, making soup for somebody or, maybe dropping a bunch of flowers, he said the feelings and the love are magnified divinely through those small acts that we do. So even though we feel that it's not much that we're doing, it is actually made into more and is life-changing for the people receiving it. So it's important for us to keep trying to do good with our food and understand that you will be blessed and supported, and what you have done will be magnified. I'm going to use a religious example. So the Saviour, when he fed the crowds of people, he only had, was it 5 loaves and 2 fishes, and he blessed that food and shared it out, and there were 12 baskets left over. So it's like God can make more out of what we have and out of us than is actually beginning. So it's like inviting that divinity into all aspects of our life, even the simple thing of preparing your food. Have that mindfulness there. All right, again, some stuck emotions. And we talk about these emotions. Where are they stuck in your body? Where can you feel them? Right, and what's hiding here is not being able to control ourselves. Sometimes diversion is a good thing, reading a book or listening to music or dancing or, playing an instrument or doing something that develops an aspect of you. All right, so one of the things that comes up now is relinquishment of judgment. So what are you judging? So I think when we point at someone, remember that there's three fingers pointing back at us. So often I can fall in that hole of being critical of other people. All right, so when we let go of our own imperfections, we allow others to do the same. The letting go of imperfection is a testament to the knowledge of who we really are and why we are here. To judge is to be dishonest. So judge not that you be not judged. So how often do we judge other people? Do we judge another parent because their son or daughter has chosen to take drugs and build a case that would have us do things differently? Our thoughts, even unexpressed, could be similar to, if they'd have done it our way, they wouldn't have a problem right now. This very thought goes out into the universe and at some stage will offer us an experience that will give us insight into the very judgment we made. And I can say definitely to that, that's my experience. How many times have you thought you knew all the facts you needed for judgment and over time realised you got it wrong? Our thoughts and value systems are not our own. We have been influenced by our families, the media, our communities, our environment, and a complex web of experiences. Relinquishing judgment does not imply abandoning our morals or our social etiquette. It allows greater compassion and an opening for rising above differences with a win-win mentality. Our need to be right is done away with, and our hearts freed from the bindings that hold us in self-imposed, elevated position above others. And there's that saying, isn't it? There, but for the grace of God, go I. And so whatever thing that we may be critical of other people or other people may be critical of us, they will have their own experiences in which they learn to understand how hard that is. All right, so checking in with everybody. How are we doing? How are we feeling? How are you feeling about food now? And how are you feeling about eating healthier food and buying healthier food and preparing with love? All righty. So thank you for all those that jumped on our call today. Okay, well, I wish you well in your journey today and show yourself love. And as you show yourself love, you're more free to show love to others. And remember that you have a sphere of influence, and every small, kind, loving deed that you do, every meal that you make, every cup of herb tea that you serve or drink of water is sending love out into the universe. And at this difficult time, we need all hands on deck to show love and kindness. Okay, bye everybody.